Hey guys, welcome to the UncleTalks live stream. I'm your host Peter, and it's the second Monday podcast. I'm here with my co-host Rainier. I'm not sure if he's away right now.
Yeah,
He's here. Cool.
yeah.
So let me just turn the music down so I can hear. And if you guys can't hear Rainier, I will put up his volume up in case you can't hear him. Okay, so how you doing, Rainier?
I am doing well. How are you?
All right. Can't complain. It's another day.
How's your summer so far? It's been hot.
This is all right. I mean, I turned 36 like a month ago, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
How
I
does
just
it feel to be like
go on.
middle-aged?
I don't really consider it that way, to be honest with you. Because honestly, like if I start thinking if I'm an old fart, like I don't want to be like my other millennial brethren that's like, oh, I'm so old now, and like my knees creak and everything, and it's like, bro or sister, I understand, but I ain't gonna age myself quicker doing that. Okay, if y'all want to age yourselves quicker doing that, go ahead. But me, I ain't doing that. Okay. I know I'm not no spring chicken, but at the same time, I ain't gonna make myself older, making me sound like someone that's very meek. Okay. I may be meek, but I'm not going to use it as sort of like, oh, I'm old, don't give me any BS or something like that.
You have entered the last half of 30s.
Yeah. Pretty much. Let's see. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear us very
Here's a
well.
random question. Do you
Yeah.
feel like this summer is exceptionally hot, or do you think
I mean, it's been
been
more humid
it's
than.
bad?
I mean, it's been more humid as much as I can feel so far.
Mhm.
But then again, I haven't been going outside a lot, which is.
Do you have
You-
AC inside?
Yeah, I have AC at home. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't have to worry as much, but at the same time, I can understand like if people feel like it's hotter than usual, because I haven't walked outside I think like throughout my entirety of the summer, because it has been very too humid to walk out. And usually during the summer, I would try to take advantage of doing that, like going outside and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what about you? How do you feel about
I
that?
feel like I can't, like, I don't want to like run outside, don't
Right.
work out outside because it's just way too hot.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even because you're still in Kansas, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm pretty
Actually.
sure it might be a lot hotter there, right? Because it's like,
Yes, I do feel like in general it is a little hotter here, but we
Yeah.
have milder winters compared
Yeah.
to
is it the snowstorms a lot more intense there?
no. I think that it's milder. Like
Oh, okay.
it will snow, but it melts relatively quickly. Maybe
Oh, okay.
the stickier ones can last maybe a week or two, but I mean, I remember stuff in the East Coast where it
So you would
lasts
say the East
months,
Coast is worse?
Oh yeah, we definitely have worse blizzards in the East
Oh,
Coast.
okay.
And-
No,
and
because I remember
more-
the show Rocket Power. One of the main characters in that show, Sammy, he's from Kansas, and the way he describes Kansas is like, oh, when there's a snow day, it would basically be like a freaking tundra of snow. And this is coming from a kid that basically just moved from Kansas to California, so I'm like, oh, maybe it's not as
It's because
much.
he's coming from California, probably. Yeah, like it's relatively.
Well, he's a kid from Kansas moving to California, because
Oh,
Rocket
moving
Power
to
takes
California.
Rocket Power takes place in California.
Ah.
So
Like
but-
it's more the thunderstorms and the
tornadoes.
like tornadoes, sure. Like it's more the suddenness and the flips of weather here.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the weather in the East Coast, in New Jersey, New York area is a lot more stable.
Yeah.
Like you can predict when a hurricane's coming. You can predict when a snowstorm is coming.
Yeah.
But sometimes here it's like it just it just comes out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, some storm system builds up.
Yeah.
Just because it's like the area where the warm air from the Gulf of Mexico hits like the cold air from Canada. So when the two air systems clash, like it can get very violent, right? Because it's like it forms like a circulation right off of there. I mean, obviously we do get like storms coming from like the Pacific or the Gulf of Mexico, but most of the time I feel like it's more spontaneous thunderstorms that comes out of nowhere.
I see. Yeah, because like there's like a new game out. Like I don't know if it's new or not, but it's been out probably for like I think a couple of days already. It's called Funnel Runners, and it's basically the whole point of the game is just to get supply for your truck so you can outrun a hurricane.
Oh, Funnel Runners.
Yeah. So one of my friends played it on their stream like yesterday, and it looked like a very funny game. And I was like, oh wow, you're literally just running away from a tornado the whole entire time. It's like crazy. But like even in New Jersey, we're facing tornadoes now, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Wow, really?
Yeah, we are. Like I think one actually almost came. I think it was in South Jersey. Like one actually occurred there, but thankfully it didn't cause that much damage as far as I heard. But it's just crazy that we're now getting tornadoes here because like I think like I don't know if it was 2 years ago or a year ago. I think it was maybe 2 years ago. We had our first earthquake like in a long time, but it was just like a very short sudden earthquake. And I mean, we have been having tornadoes since I was in college, but at the same time, it was like crazy that now we have to worry about those things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is definitely a changing world, right?
Yeah, it's changing world. I think that's how nature is. But speaking of nature, so if you guys are tuning into the Second Monday podcast and you've watched us for a while, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If you're watching this through the YouTubes, if you're watching this on Kick or Twitch, hit the follow buttons. It'd be much appreciated. But today we're going to talk about consciousness. So we don't have like that much scientific data behind us, so we're just going to talk about like basically how people perceive consciousness, like what most people have found, what experts are saying on podcasts and all that stuff, whether it be from physicists, neuroscientists, and all that stuff. And we don't really have like the data or the papers to provide you guys, but if you like us to provide some of those things, or like access to like the podcast that probably I will mention and maybe Rainier will mention, we could put it in the description down below if you want us to, so leave a comment down below if you want the sources to those. But yeah, we're gonna actually start making questions about consciousness and what we think it might be based on our own personal experiences. But so we're not scientists. I mean, Rainier, he could be a scientist because he did major in a scientific field, but I am definitely not a scientist. I love reading this stuff. I love being curious about it, but at the same time, I'm more of the spiritual type of guy. Like, I mostly like to connect spiritually with the universe, but at the same time, it's like, I can't really say that I have scientific data to back up what I'm going to say. But I'm going to try to make it so that my ideas are not too over the top, because I still believe in the laws of physics and the universe. Knock on wood.
I feel like it gets really, really tricky to talk about consciousness because as much as we want to back it up or preface it with scientific data, it's almost inherently a subjective thing.
Right.
In my the way I see consciousness is very subjective, right? Like it's there's not one reality for consciousness. There's multiple different realities, and it almost depends on the person, or the living thing.
All right. So I think my question to you is that since you opened up with it has multiple realities, right? How would we visualize that? Like from your explanation to like you're opening up your explanation to our perspective. How can we visualize your perspective into that? What are the multiple realities we're talking about here?
Like, for example, I mean, just we are limited by the senses. That when we talk about human, and we're only talking about human, right? It's so hard to even think about what a cat would see or what a dog would see.
Yeah.
I feel like as a human, we already have different conscious experience, right? We have different types of consciousness. Like Helen Keller would have a different conscious experience as me. Someone who was born blind, someone who is deaf, someone who, think about all the disabilities. Someone who has a 20/20 eyesight is very different experience than me, right?
Right.
So there's that, and then you enter like other living things, right? Like deer only has 2 color rods instead of 3. Bees can, other creatures can sense different visible outside of the human visible spectrum. They can see infrared or ultraviolet. It's like interesting, right? Like the paper that you had, it's kind of interesting, but it kind of had explained that, right? It tried to go into like the because I'm essentially talking about evolutionary what you call it, like survival of the fittest, right? So
Darwinism.
Right. So survival of the fittest essentially made all the different types of organisms kind of essentially create its own reality. Right? We create our own reality for a certain advantage. Right? So like certain organisms can see farther, or can see, like I said, non-visible spectrum, so that it helps them in their reproduction. But is that the truth though, right? So the truth is like, what is real is kind of like very much debated. It's kind of interesting.
I'm also reading a book by that same author that wrote the paper I sent you. So the paper we're talking about, guys, if you want to look it up, it's called The Fusion of Consciousness, and it's by Donald D. Hoffman. He is a neuroscientist. I think last podcast I said his name in passing, but I made a mistake. I thought he was from MIT. He's actually from the University of Irvine. UC Irvine, yeah. So that was my mistake, and like I said, our podcasts are just basically just 2 dudes, or maybe 3 dudes, like if John is here, just a bunch of dudes talking, and we don't fact check ourselves sometimes.
I'm not gonna lie, like I feel like I don't even come close to like understanding half the stuff that he's trying to convey. I feel like I read it and I'm like, this is way too freaking deep for me. Holy shit.
No, like I think I've read up to the point where I think up to section 5 I read up to. Once I got to section 5, I was like, okay, now he's going into the linear algebra relationship with consciousness. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I recognize certain terms like from linear algebra, such as kernels and matrices and all that stuff.
He definitely had some computer science background, because the way his analogies work, he's talking about conscious objects as like objects. And I know that he really, in data structures and stuff like that. And I knew he understood it, or he's trying to explain it from the lens of computer science. And it kind of like is interesting. I'm not sure how much computer science background you have, but like as a person who kind of, I'm aware of the concepts of the computer science objects and data structures and stuff. So it's kind of interesting, because I can almost like relate a little bit to like his explanation. Like, oh, okay, I understand what he's trying to say here. That because we conscious objects are just data structures that we like assign, because that's what you do in computer science. You like assign like a memory space for a certain object, and then later on you take it out. So it's almost like it exists and then it doesn't exist. It exists, it doesn't exist. So it's like so I kind of understood that little part, but it's wild. That whole entire, I mean, I didn't read the whole paper obviously, because it definitely got very complicated. Oh yeah, so far, going back to like, there's a subset. It's almost like there's not really an answer to what the truth is.
Yeah.
Because all we can say is that what we see or what we think is the truth is not the truth. It's not like the absolute truth, because it's almost like we are biased by our own human consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like, is this object blue?
Yeah.
Like we can say yes, it is, but the object isn't blue. You know what I'm saying? In reality, it's not blue. It's like something else.
Right.
It's like we can't tell.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I get your point there, and I think what Dr. Donald Hoffman points out very well is that whenever we talk about consciousness, we think of space-time as fundamental, and when you think about it, it's just based off our own human observation, and at the same time, our human observation is still biased in a way where it's still connected to our brain, and our brain has like these different types of experiences, and these experiences kind of compel us to have a sense that we know where, like, what we observe in the actual world is the data that we're receiving. But at the same time, we can't stop our minds from remembering those experiences that we had from kind of clouding the data, even though it's not meant to cloud it. It's sort of like still looms in the background, but it can still pop up at any time to actually influence us whenever we're trying to get objective data. So I do agree with his take that whenever he goes on a podcast, I agree with his take that we do not have a science of observation, like proper observation where we can actually be, I would say, absolutely objective. I won't say we're not being objective with science. I think we try to be objective if we possibly can, but we can't be like absolutely objective where it's like I'm just a brain that has no outside knowledge other than my field, and I'm just trying to put myself in the experiment without actually influencing it, and I'm trying to look at it at the way it is instead of having a human brain, a piece of wet matter that has a lot of things like past trauma, past like enjoyments, past blessings, past happy moments, like swirling around in the subconscious. You get what I'm saying? So but the question is that like, do those experiences that we had from childhood to now, and if we grew up to be scientists, right? Do those experiences actually influence our observations if we were to be scientists and observe the world?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, it will influence. It's the job of the scientist to design an experiment that limits the influence of bias. At least that's how I understand like scientific method to be, because it's almost like we assume that about ourselves. Humanity and science assumes that humans are biased by their past experiences, and we are prone to like fidget data, or like look at a data depending on what we expect them to be, and we kind of interpret them towards that, like what we expect it to be, right? And that's why it's almost like you can find like fraud sometimes, even in the scientific world, because they hung too much in their initial theory that they cannot like wiggle around it. Because like if you spend like, I don't know, months and months and months, trying to experiment something, it's almost like it becomes your identity,
right?
But if you are true to science though, then you try to really minimize, and you do acknowledge your biases, whether it's funding biases, whether it's what you say, what you expect to see in like the introduction, and then what was the actual result. So that's hopefully good science is a good observation.
I think like I think an interesting study that would be intriguing to see is like how much of our past experience, no matter how irrelevant it is to the field of study that we're observing in the experiment, I wonder what is the percentage of that influencing our own observations in the experiment. no matter how irrelevant it is. Like, it could be as irrelevant as, like, you remembering you were in your mother's womb, even though you're experimenting on the cosmos. You're actually making observations from astronomy, for example, or astrophysics, right? So it's like, I wonder what can you actually get a non-zero measurement of how much that influences your observation, even though it's supposed to be the most unbiased observation you can think of, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I suppose it depends, right? So in that case, you're trying to observe something happen in the physical world,
Yeah.
versus something like when, you know, Hoffman wrote the paper. It's obvious that his past experiences and his limited knowledge influenced the way he explained things. He influenced the way he wrote the paper. He was using computer science jargon like data objects, but if you didn't have any computer science knowledge, you wouldn't be using data, you know, user interface and objects and data structures. You wouldn't even be using those analogies, right? Like, you would not expect Plato or Aristotle to even explain consciousness in that way.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, in a sense, it kind of brings an interesting idea that, like, modern science, right? We come up with these modern concepts like quantum theory. Quantum physics, rather, right? Quantum physics and all of these new terms, and now we can it's almost like see the world or explain the world in a different lens that someone from, you know, like Galileo couldn't, because he just couldn't. It's impossible for him because he didn't know about those concepts, you know?
Right. Yeah. Because, like, actually, the thing of it is that I find it very interesting how we have to think about how can we communicate consciousness, like how can we actually talk about it in a very objective way, but at the same time, like, when we look at the physical, right, when we look at the brain, we still don't know exactly what makes the conscious it's like we know the hardware, like we're learning more about the hardware is getting more and more physically accessible, but we still don't know the software of,
well, the thing is, like,
of the
they
brain.
know the correlation but not the causation, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Like, what was it, the experiments regarding color interference, where they interfered with, like, the left part of the brain, and the patient couldn't see color on their right eye, and then when you remove the interference, they could see color. Like, it's like obviously correlated. Like,
I've read that in Hoffman's book. Yeah,
it's in the paper. That's why I referenced that. So we correlate that the brain is the one that governs our senses, right? Which, and our senses is kind of like the amalgamation of consciousness. But when you do the same interference in your feet or hands or your gut, like, you won't, it doesn't have the same effect, right? In our senses, that is. But what it actually causes, you know, the conscious experience is it's still not known. I mean, what are deposits? It's kind of like the way the computer works, I guess. It's kind of like the way electrical signals travel, kind of like with the voltages, whether it's 111000011 versus, you know, 00111, blah blah blah. And it's like, that may be what's giving us this consciousness.
Like, so, like, bringing reference to what me and Rainier discussed, so that particular, like, experiment that he just discussed, that is in both Hoffman's paper as well his book, Case Against Reality. So the experiment is that when patients were observing colors, I don't know if I'm going to reference the experiment that was done in the paper, but I'm going to reference the one I read in the book. Basically, they opened up a patient's skull and they basically had their brain, like, in full view, and the patient was still alive to actually, like, experience what they were witnessing. If you guys have ever seen an episode of House, I think there was an episode like that, where you can where the doctor is actually able to observe the brain. And the thing of it is that I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but the right and left hemispheres of your brain are connected by one little stem that's in the brain, and if you actually cut that stem off, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere become separate brains. They become separate, like, brains with their own conscious thoughts and everything. So it's like you made two brains in one head, right? So the left side of the brain usually monitors what's going on the right side, while the right side of the brain governs what's happening on the left side. So
they had an experiment on that, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Where they had a patient with a separated brain like that, and they separated her visual field, and they showed two different things. One was like a bear, and one was like, I don't know, it was like some word. And when you ask different questions, it answers different things. So it's like, can you draw me the picture of your, the stuff that you see in the left eye? They can essentially see both items. Yeah. So they can say the word that they see in the right hemisphere, or something like they could say the word, but when the other side, they can't say the word. They had to draw it. Yeah. It's like interesting. So it's like the one side of the brain can draw it, but the other side can say it out loud. Right. It's very interesting.
Yeah. It shows you, like, basically how complex the brain is, because like you're like, if you cut that one stem off, like from the left and right hemisphere that connects it, you begin to realize that, oh, we can have like multiple like quote unquote consciousness in our own heads. Like we literally have like two beings inside our brains, like if we just cut that little piece off, right? But somehow these two hemispheres, they just come together. So if you guys are like into like yin and yang and all that stuff, maybe that could be something there.
The connection is called corpus callosum.
Corpus callosum, yeah.
That's the.
I knew it started with a C. I just couldn't pronounce it because I've never heard it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's pretty interesting, right, guys? Like to think that your whole brain is connected by one little stem that basically is the thing that keeps your one brain from being two brains.
I mean, it's very interesting now, the some of the studies in brain, and how they have almost generally mapped human skills to different parts of the brain, where they like say, oh, language, obviously I'm not going to be saying this accurately, but it's something like language and visual sensory is in the occipital lobe, and then abstract is in this lobe. It's like very interesting. It's like, wow.
Yeah, and if you guys are like neuro doctors or anything like that, if we say anything inaccurate, please put it in the chat, because the more we learn from you guys that probably already are in the field, the more educated we get, and we thank you for that.
What's interesting is with the brain, obviously, it's almost like we learn about these stuff through the power of negatives. Like we find someone who has a defect in that area or has some sort of damage in that area, then you signal for brain activity. You don't get any, or you get very little brain activity, and then you see what's lacking. So it's almost like, oh, we know that this area of the brain is language because someone else who lacked that function had trouble with language,
Right.
So it was almost like, we kind of proved through the negatives.
Yeah. I mean, it's usually like, from like a person that actually has an affliction that makes it, like, I guess, quote unquote, not normal. And then like we have to actually ask the question of why, and then like how can we actually create the medical practices where this person can actually achieve a social version of normacy in that regard. And I think it's really quite interesting how consciousness has now become, like, I guess, like more into something we put into question, like now, especially with the internet age now, where I see like a lot of YouTube videos about consciousness and manifestation, and like some people say they can manifest certain things, and like I tend to try to look at it from a very objective point of view, but at the same time, it's like there are some parts of it that you just feel like which parts are being objective and which parts are actually just kind of like hogwash in some ways. Because like there are people that are spiritual that believe in consciousness, but they kind of give consciousness too much power. But there are also scientists that basically kind of poo-poo on consciousness and basically say like, oh, consciousness is not very anything, it's just synapses in the brain. But if it was something that simple or reductive, then I'm like, then why isn't it that we haven't figured out what it truly is yet? You know?
I feel like it's because I mean, I say this,
Yeah.
me personally, but I feel like it's impossible to see what the truth is. Like,
Yeah.
It's impossible because we're just so limited in our reality. Like I said, we don't even like we don't have a power to see what the bee sees or the dragonfly what they see or what they feel like. So it's almost like you're missing a lot of different realities. Like the true reality may be a combination of everything, or may not. It's still I would say that even when you get all consciousness combined together, it may still not be reality.
Right.
Like basically, we may just have to swallow the fact that there are just different realities. It's just based on how you're wired and how you perceive the world.
I mean, quantum mechanics kind of opens the door to that in some ways, but at the same time, like unless you're actually a quantum physicist, like is probably a lot more than say the Marvel version of like there's like multiple universes out there, or like the imagery of such things, right? And the thing of it is that it's funny because the more we try to tap into things that we can't access with experiment, like when it comes to like physics, for example, we have to rely on the mathematics to kind of guide us there. At the same time, like obviously the math is not going to match 100% of what experiment tells us, but at the same time it's just kind of weird, like this bunch of scribbles that we write on boards and textbooks, they somehow have this power that allows us to see into the deepness of reality, even though it's not exactly 100% it's 100% accurate, but at the same time it gives us a precise way of viewing it in like a certain way. And I think that that's very interesting because like I mean, like some people believe that math is the language of the universe, and I think like it's just the best tool that we have when it comes to like seeing things that we can't see. But at the same time, it's like when like I think like the question I have now is, what is the power of consciousness, and what influence does it have on space-time? Is space-time fundamental, or is consciousness fundamental?
I mean, what was the not fundamental one? It was like, someone was quoted saying that that they're almost certain that space and time are illusions. That's very interesting.
I mean, Einstein basically said that like the distinction between the past, present, and future is just an illusion, right?
Well, yeah. So if space and time are illusions, don't we have all these mathematical equations that try to explain space-time and how it works, and like it's essentially a mathematical formula for an illusion.
Pretty much, yeah. And the thing of it is that like which is the thing that is outside of space and time, right? And we don't really have an answer to that. But some people say, oh, it's the ultimate consciousness, or it might be God, or something like that. And like both of us are not specialists or scientists, so I will not try to attempt to say it is one thing or the other. It could be all of those things, or it could be none of those things. So I'm actually, Rainier, I'm kind of curious on what you think about like consciousness influence in our reality, whether it be the ultimate fundamental construct, or whether it be something that space-time has surrounded as a construct.
It's rough, right? Like if like a what you call it, almost like a non-scientific viewpoint, or kind of like a layman's viewpoint. I mean, it's almost like I have to say that consciousness exists, because otherwise why am I here? Why am I talking?
Right.
Exists as in like not, it may not exist physically, but it's almost like maybe it's a combination of neurons that the way they fire the electricity in my brain is causing me to perceive things, and then my history growing up all the way in here and what I learned in school is, that I'm pretty much limited in. That's kind of like my toolbox. So I have a toolbox.
So the question I want to ask you, since you said that, do you believe that consciousness is just manifested through physical interactions of matter and energy, like within your brain?
It has. I feel like it has to be. Now, obviously I can't say for certain.
Right,
But
of course.
it's like obviously we have not demonstrated any other organs to have. I mean, I guess there's reflexes, but to generate consciousness, right? To generate, it's almost like you take in information. So we almost have like, what you call it, measurement devices, right? So think of yourself. You have measurement devices. Your eyes measure light and whatever. Your ears are measuring vibrations and all that. Your nose has olfactory cells. Your touch. It's all like feeding in information to our brain, and then our brain interprets the information according to how our genes are coded, right? I mean, you are limited by our genes. I mean, why is 200 Celsius too hot? Why is 10 cold? Why do we see the color blue? Why does it look like that?
Right.
I feel like we go back to Darwin's thingy, the evolutionary gains. But yeah, going back to so I feel like there's got to be some physical wiring, almost kind of just how the computer produces all of these applications that we are on Discord, together. Like I am producing these thoughts and and then compartmentalizing it into memory. So I don't know. Yeah, I can't say. I feel like I'm on the camp where I can't say that consciousness is like an illusion or anything like that. I mean, I think it does, and that's kind of like how like we can kind of almost judge other people's emotions, right? Like if I look at you and based on my experience and how I learned, like people cry when they're sad, or generally, you laugh when you're happy, or you find something funny. It's based on my own how I see things too, right? Like how I grew up crying, grew up laughing, and what you see in other people. But I can deduce that you have consciousness. But it's almost like you can't do that with a rock, right? Like, I can't look at a rock and be like, does this rock have consciousness? Like, maybe. I mean, maybe. But it's not something that I can observe, right? I mean, we can observe our cat have some sort of consciousness. Dog has some sort of consciousness, but like a tree. How about a tree? A tree would be interesting because it's like it could, right? There's like studies where trees actually talk to each other through signaling molecules in the roots. It like the sunflower tracks the movement of the sun, so it has like measuring devices because they could track these different, like in terms of the sunflower, it could track sunlight, so obviously there's a detector there. But does it have consciousness? It could be, may or may not.
So if you were to like put them next to each other, space and time and consciousness, right? Which would you say has more influence than the other?
Which one is more influential? Like, does consciousness have more influence in space?
Like if you were to size them up, right? If you were to estimate what size they are, like which one would be considered big and which one would be considered small, from your perspective and your experience and beliefs?
I feel like my consciousness, I can only really evaluate my own consciousness. So in a sense, it feels very tiny to me. Like I am just like a pebble, whereas space-time is like this huge, gigantic thing, right? When I still remember watching the video of the planets and the stars, and it shows you the scale, right? So they'll show you the sun, and then when they show you Arcturus or whatever, this is
like the
Sirius.
powers of 10.
Yeah, like the sun looks like a dot compared to like this massive star. Like Aldebaran looks so big compared to the sun, right? Like, we're a period compared to Earth, and then the Earth is a period compared to some sun, and then the sun is a period compared to all of these bigger stuff. It's like so hard to imagine the scale of.
There's like a video on YouTube. I think it's called how big the universe is really. And like I remember the quote. It was like, you have to imagine that the whole observable universe is the size of a light bulb, but you have to imagine that the whole entire universe, the stuff that we can't observe, is the size of the planet Pluto. So it's like there's like more stuff that we just don't observe, but yet they're there anyway.
And what's crazy is that like we're saying that in size going up from the human, you know, what we're perception, but there's also another world on the size going down all the way to Planck scale.
It's
so crazy how small atoms are into the molecules, how small tissue cells are, bacteria, yada yada yada. It gets crazy the amount of scale.
If you guys are not familiar with the Planck scale, the Planck mass, and the Planck time, those are like supposed to be the smallest measurements that we can actually see when it comes to like knowing how space and time and events within them are going to break down. So the Planck mass is basically how small we can go before things kind of like don't make sense anymore. The Planck time is how far we can go back in time to the like close to the Big Bang without having the equations blow up in that regard. The same thing with the Planck scale, where it's like we have like these 3 dimensions of space, and then we can shrink them down to a certain degree to the point of the Planck length. And once we get to the Planck length, space and time kind of like lose the foundation of what makes sense anymore. And that's and physics basically predicts its own destruction in that regard. But there are physicists that are trying to figure out how can we get past that. How can we get past the Planck length if we can't go any further than that? If that's regard, or if we can't go further than that, then what's preventing us from not going further than that? So, like, you know, I think Donald Hoffman talks about that in his paper, and he basically says that physics already predicts its own downfall. So, from his interpretation, he basically believes that the laws of physics are not going to be the end-all be-all that determines what reality truly is, because it predicts its own pitfalls of not being able to access certain domains. But that's also based on, like, you know, our ability to observe and to like actually wind back the clock mathematically. And it's kind of funny because it's the same thing with mathematics, because mathematics, if you guys are not familiar with Gödel's incompleteness theorem, I will try to summarize it as best I can, because I've summarized it with my mathematical friends, and they've told me that my explanation and how it works does make sense to a layman's term. So I will do my best to reiterate that. So Gödel's incompleteness theorem is just it's based on a branch of math called logic. And logic is basically like it's just structuring your arguments so that they make sense. And what Gödel's incompleteness theorem, it's famous for a reason. What his theorem says is that there will be true statements in your, well, let's just say your branch of math or your system of study. We'll just say branch of math to make it a little bit more simplified. So the math you're observing, like a branch of math, whether it be algebra, geometry, or calculus, right? The branch of math that you're studying, it will have a lot of true statements in it. But there will be a true statement in there that will be true, but you cannot prove it's true based on the amount of true statements you have. So what can you do? The thing you can only do is to add that true statement. And the more true statements you add, the more truths you can prove. So what Gödel's incompleteness theorem says is that there are a lot of true statements and assumptions you have to make in order to prove that other things in that subject are true. Does that make sense?
What? Sorry, say that again. I literally.
You
Repeat
want me
that
to
one?
reiterate that?
Yeah, read that for me.
Okay, so let's just say, all right, let's just say we define a park, right? What do we imagine in a park? Let's say it's a regular park. We imagine, like, what we define as a tree is a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we define as grass is grass, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we can imagine a park with trees and grass, right?
Yep.
Now the thing of it is that if I put a playground in there, is it still our definition of a park? Because what we define a park as is that it's an open place where people can hang out with, but there's only trees, there's only grass and trees. Now, if I put a park in there, like a playground, a playground in there, is it still a park?
I'm pretty sure there's a debate there.
Yeah, exactly. But based on our own human experience, we would say yes, right?
I think so, though. I'm pretty sure there are some people that might disagree, right?
Yeah, but technically, if we were trying to make a definition of a park, we would say yes, like based on our own human experiences. Now, the thing of it is that it's still a park, but we can't prove that it's a park. It's true that it's a park, but we cannot prove it's true unless we add the definition of a playground in our definition of a park. Does that make sense?
It's kind of a tautology where it's like...
Yeah. You basically have to actually add more to the rules. Or in like the reason why I'm not using rules is because it goes into Gödel's completeness theorem.
Yeah, because if you define playground as part of the park, then
that it's true that a park with a playground in it is a park.
It's a park, then it's just like it's tautology almost. Yes. Like,
so the reason why I bring this up is that Gödel's incompleteness theorem, when it comes to math, revolves around things called axioms. Axioms are just the assumptions, quote unquote, that we assume are true. So for instance, if you have addition, you usually assume that 1 plus 2 has to equal 2 plus 1. That's the assumption we make. Otherwise, addition breaks down. But the thing of it is that in order to prove further ideas involving, say, addition or arithmetic, you have to constantly add more things, these called axioms, which are kind of like mathematical ways of saying assumptions that we can define are true in this branch of math. Now, why do I bring this up? The reason why I bring this up is because when you actually look at the world through Gödel's completeness and incompleteness theorem, you begin to see what builds science, mathematics, and observation in general from the human experience. So, like, if that was too technical, tell me in chat. You can shout at me in chat or whatever. I don't even know if I explained it right, but that's the best way I can... Well, what was that, Rainier?
I said, yell at him, chat.
Yeah. Like, if I didn't explain it well, please let me know. I don't even know if I explained it well for like someone that actually knows mathematics, but that was the best way I can explain it without losing you guys. But at the same time, like, this goes into Gödel's completeness theorem, which is about logic. Now, logic is basically what you use with the true statements you have. In this case, axioms. So the rules in which you use those axioms, which is logic, to prove true ideas within that branch of math is true, that is finite. So the definitions you can put are true is infinite, whilst the rules you use to prove things are true, hence the logic, is finite. So you have a finite amount of rules to prove that true ideas exist within this branch of math or the system that you're working with. Okay? So it basically tells how science and math are endless, because there's always going to be new discoveries in science, and you have to add those new ideas or those true statements in science in order to come up with, using the rules, using the ability to use the scientific method, which is the rules, hence the logic that scientists use to come up why are those things true. Does that make sense, Rainier?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, so when you look at it from the lens of that, from Gödel's completeness and incompleteness theorem through like, you know, science and society in general. To me, I feel as if that's what consciousness is. It's like there's always going to be some truth to consciousness, but we can't prove it until we actually expand on the truth statements that we have
we're just
for
adding
that.
onto actions, right?
Yeah, but we have to constantly
actions.
keep adding new definitions on what makes consciousness consciousness.
Yep.
So that's the reason why I bring it up. I know I got a little convoluted with that, but hopefully you guys were able to follow along. I tried to make it less than a paragraph long to explain all that.
Yeah. It's kind of like me saying that, I have to assume that consciousness exists because I'm here,
Yeah.
you know, talking to you in Discord or whatever. Like, that's a kind of that's an axiom. I'm saying, I'm positing that I have to assume this to be true, you know, in order for me to even begin talking or even begin like if we are just butterflies that are dreaming to be human, then what is the point of all of this?
Right. Another question, like the thing of it is that quantum mechanics, I think, is like when you look at quantum mechanics, like if you look at consciousness through a quantum mechanical lens, it kind of feels as if it's kind of peculiar because it sort of feels like when you think of consciousness like from an intuition point of perspective, and you actually look at the way the math is structured in quantum mechanics or the experiments in quantum mechanics work, you begin to feel as if this is more closer to consciousness than, say, classic mechanics is. Like, you know, how balls fall to the earth, or how you launch like how you launch a rock through a catapult or something. The reason why I say this is because there's something in quantum mechanics called the wave function. And the wave function, like, for those of you that don't know, it's just basically a mathematical object that tells us where particles will end up. But it's a probability wave where it's like, we know that the particle could be here, there, or it could be everywhere.
So it's like position and...
It was position and momentum.
Spin? Oh, momentum.
Yeah, it's position and momentum. Yeah, so you can't know the position of a particle with certainty unless you are able to eliminate the certainty in its momentum, because they're kind of like counteracting with each other. So you can know where a particle is, but you can never know how fast it's going, and vice versa. And the weird thing about quantum mechanics, like if you take away the particle weirdness, if you were to think of it like, say, a dial of, like, a volume dial, where you're trying to turn up the volume and you're trying to up the volume, but let's say you have a dial that allows you to turn the voices or the music into a high pitch to a low pitch. When it comes to, like, the uncertainty principle, like Schrodinger's uncertainty principle, it's like you're trying to turn the dial so you know, if you want to know position, you turn the dial so you actually get an accurate position. But in order to do that, you actually have to add waves of momentum to basically get you to the accurate position of the particle. But in doing that, you basically messed up the momentum measurement. The same thing goes in the reverse, where you're trying to get the momentum, but then you turn the dial on its position, but now the position is out of whack, because you're adding waves to basically say, hey, position, I don't need you anymore. Now just go down or go up so I can find the momentum, how fast you're going. Does that make sense?
Okay, I kind of understand it.
It's like you're tuning things. It's like you're tuning audio, right? That's the best way, like, quantum mechanics is, I can visualize and explain. Like I said, I'm not a physicist, but the more times I watch, like, videos about the math and about the, I guess, the layman's terms explanations, the more I feel like I'm getting more in tune with, like, kind of like getting the intuition of what physicists are trying to explain with these ideas. Now, I'm not saying that my intuition is good. I'm just basically saying that I kind of get a little bit of the inkling of what they're trying to explain to a broad audience. So why do I bring this up?
Very complicated, and it's like, I know you're simplifying it, but even the simplification is kind of, it's quantum physics. So
no, it's just like, the weird thing is that with the wave function, it's just a mathematical object, but you have to take into account the statistics of the particle being in every location and adding all those probabilities together, and that makes the wave function. So every single thing in the universe, like whether it be planets or whether it be you and me on Earth, like having this conversation, it has to be added in this one long equation called the wave function. But that whole entire equation is literally just all the events squeezed into one thing, which is the wave function. And it's not like you have a wave function for every single event or every single occurrence. Those things add up just to make one wave function. So it's a scientific way of saying we're all one in a way, where like most spiritual people will basically say, see, the math shows that we're all one because all the probability of all the events has to be added together to make this one single thing called the wave function. So everything that's happening in the universe, every event, whether it be like black holes forming or us having this conversation or, you know, a rock just rolling down a hill on Earth right now at this current moment, that's all being added together to make the universe, the wave function of the universe, basically.
Okay, so there's one wave function.
There's one wave function in its entirety if you were trying to look at everything from like a very objective perspective. So like mostly like this is how some people kind of misconstrued quantum mechanics to fit consciousness or fit their narrative consciousness, because there's something in quantum mechanics called the observer effect, where as if like you actually try to measure a particle, you actually kind of take away the quantum weirdness and it actually turns up in the area where you measured. So it's like, why is it that when we're not observing it or not measuring it, it ends up like in a lot of places, but when we're actually measuring it, it turns out into one place and it becomes a particle again. That is the thing that I think a lot of people think that consciousness is involved with it. But at the same time, I kind of have to step back and basically like, is it though? Is it really? Because we still don't understand what the observer effect is trying to tell us with that. Yeah, so...
although complicated.
Yeah, I mean,
I like
it's
how you have more insight into it. Definitely.
Yeah.
So it's like interesting to see your perspective.
No, it's just like whenever I watch
learning.
videos about, let's say, entrepreneurs or people that talk about manifestation, there's a part of me that wants to believe in manifestation, and like people believe that with manifestation, it's like if you're able to like look internally within yourself and fix the things within yourself and develop a sense of belief in yourself to get the things you want, there's a way for you to manifest those things into reality. But at the same time, a lot of people will be like, well, I'm practicing manifestation, but none of the things that I want are not becoming reality for me. Like, such as, like, I want $1 million. Why is it that when I want $1 million so bad, it's not coming to me?
You manifest $1 million.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I also believe what sometimes, like, I don't want to say they're gurus, but I would say, like, the people that want to, like, counsel people through, like, being able to believe in themselves and manifest the lives they want. I usually think of it this way, where it's like they would ask the question, well, are you ready for $1 million yet? You know, and that's a really good question to ask, because it's like, if you want $1 million just because you want to splurge on trips and just act like, oh, this $1 million is just gonna come into my life and I'm gonna be free. But at the same time, do you know how to use $1 million to its full potential without you having to work again? Right? So, like, there's also internal things there. Now, the thing of it is that, like, it might sound kind of like hokey or whatever, but I do believe that there's a bit of a spiritual kind of oneness within yourself. You don't have to be a scientist to think about that. I would say that your life becomes better when you're ready for the events that you kind of desire, but you also have to detach yourself from those desires in order for you to actually receive those desired results, because they no longer hold a desperate place in your life anymore, because you're thinking because you're not thinking about what happens if you don't have those things.
Okay.
I mean, that's the spiritual part of what I think is kind of like appropriate for, like, you know, the growth of a person when it comes to that side of consciousness.
It definitely influences behavior.
Yeah. Okay, it's around 9 o'clock, guys, so we're gonna take our first break, so we will be right back.
Yep.
So if you need to
Give
take
me
a
5
bathroom
minutes.
break or just get some water, please do. Stay hydrated. We'll be right back. Right. All right. Well, I'm back, guys. But if you guys are still like need some time for yourselves, you know, take your time. Take your time. Once Rainier gets back, we will continue our conversation. So, but hopefully, you guys are getting enough from what we're talking about, because I know we're getting consciousness is a very complex topic, but I feel as if there is room for like the logic and the science, but at the same time, there's also room for a little bit of the spirituality there, because I think that's the best way to look at consciousness in general. It's like, you can't look at it from just the scientific perspective. Sometimes you have to actually because when it's the scientific perspective, you know, you're not going to get all your answers from like just the science alone, because science is continuously researching, and there will always be more questions than answers in science. So I would have to say that during your time on this earth, you began to like try to fill in the gaps of what you probably perceive what consciousness is and what's doing for you in your life and thing. And I think that's the best way to like view consciousness, in my personal opinion, as you're going through your days and like, you know, living. I mean, if you guys are in the chat, like type out like what you guys think of consciousness. What do you guys are you guys more connected into the science side of consciousness, or you're more connected towards the spiritual side of consciousness? Because I have nothing against people that basically want to say they want to manifest their lives the way they want. At the same time, I know that like wishful thinking unfortunately doesn't get us the results we want unless we actually do the actions that lead to the wishful thinking becoming a desire, becoming a kind of like a manifestation of our own choices in that regard. But at the same time, I do believe you have the power to actually, I guess, quote unquote, manifest the things that could be a good part of your life. The thing of it is that you actually have to kind of detach from the needed result of those things occurring. And that's hard to do. Like, you basically have to find a way to make peace with the fact that, oh, I might not be with the romantic partner that I might share my life with, or I have to detach myself from the desire of, becoming rich and famous, that sort of thing. And, sometimes that's a good thing, because it kind of allows us to not to put so much emphasis on our life's happiness based on the results. And, as you guys may know, I like to talk about on this podcast, like, how much results don't determine exactly your life of happiness. And I think the thing that everybody has something that they think they need to be happy, but at the same time, it's like, are those things that you think you need to be happy?
I'm back.
Hey, welcome back. Yeah, so whatever side you guys are on, whether it be in the science side or whether it be the spiritual side of consciousness, I think whatever you believe or whatever you feel, I think that probably is more in tune to yourself, I think. And I think no one can tell you whether you're right or wrong about that. Of course, wishful thinking is not going to manifest the things that you want in your life to occur, but I do believe life is a person's reactions, their actions, and their choices. And I think that is the thing that will help manifest the life
It's like
um,
little
that you kind of
choices, yeah.
envision. What's up?
It's like the little choices make the big the whole. Like
Mm-hmm.
like if you want to save money, for example, like
Mm-hmm.
you choosing to do one or the over the other
Mm-hmm.
can build up into a habit and can help you with that, you know.
Yeah.
It starts small. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
like with big purchases. It'd be like with your everyday small choices. Because
Yeah.
we always, but like our everyday, we spend what thousands of small decisions in life,
Yeah.
right? Whether
Right.
I'm not even talking whether to cross the road or not, or whether
Mm-hmm.
to do this or that. It's like
Mm-hmm.
so many. Like what do I
Yeah.
eat for breakfast? What do I eat for lunch? What do I drink?
Yeah.
What do I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like actually like there are times when like I feel like the universe is telling me to do something and I just follow it sometimes, like in my body. So like during Saturday, right? My body was like kind of having this feeling where it's like, oh, go to Barnes and Noble. And I was like in my body it was like those kind of strong
Mhm.
feelings you feel like you should do it. And like, why am I having this strong feeling to go to Barnes and Noble? And so I got into my dad's car and I just basically drove over to Barnes and Noble and I looked around the books and like nothing caught my eye, right? And I was like, why'd I had this feeling just to go up here? And like
Mhm.
maybe it was just for me to get out of the house. But at the same time, I didn't make any other stops. I just basically went to Barnes and Noble. I walked around the mall a little bit and then like nothing really happened. I didn't buy anything. I didn't meet anybody. And sometimes I put too much emphasis on what, like, you know, what I think the universe is trying to tell me to do. But during that time, like, I began to think about like exactly like, did I had a desired result in my head that I feel like I wanted to achieve with this, or did I just do this because I just wanted to go out, you know?
Mhm.
And the question is that was I conscious of that, or was it basically like another force just compelling my body to basically just get out of the house? You know, it's a little
Mhm.
bit of it's a little bit of like kind of like an inner, I wouldn't say inner crisis, but sort of like an inner query of like, what exactly is it that you kind of receive in that way, you know? And I think like most people would probably get those things as sort of like, oh, that's like a sign of God, that a sign from God that they want you to do something. And I think the original purpose why I left was like, maybe I will meet someone to talk to, but I ended up not talking to anybody at that point. But maybe there was a lesson there that I didn't see, you know?
Mhm.
You know? Hey, Nicole, how's it going? Man. Yeah, oh, man. But, you know, like some people believe that the ultimate consciousness is like a divinity or like something outside of space and time and all that stuff. And, you know, like I can't say that they're wrong about that, because like there are times when I do feel like maybe I put too much emphasis on the physical world. Because I think the reason why people think that consciousness doesn't have that much power is because if it did have so much power that most people talk about, then why is it that whenever I try to consciously try to manifest something, it doesn't come into fruition? It doesn't come in the physical world the way I want it to, you know?
You don't have telekinesis or
Yeah, like, you know, like
telepathy.
telekinesis or like, you know, manipulating the universe the way you want it. And, you know, like Donald Hoffman said the same exact thing, where it's like we have like these VR headsets where our brain is just telling us that we are only have these type of limits, and if we master the ability to know what consciousness is or what observation is, we'll be able to manipulate the laws of physics and get the life we want. um
I
of course.
mean, in a way, you could say that it's yes, also good that
Yeah.
consciousness doesn't have that much effect on space and time,
Yeah.
because as much as there are good consciousness, there are bad consciousness. As far as like, if we're counting thoughts in part of that, right?
Yeah.
There are definitely nefarious thoughts swimming around, you know, some people's heads
Mm-hmm.
of all sorts of different negatives, you know. So
Yeah.
it's like good that it's not manifesting into the real world. It's like it's just confined to that individual's brain.
I usually think of consciousness as sort of similar to the idea of truth within Full Metal Alchemist, where it's like it doesn't have a form, and you talk to it the way you think you deserve to be talked to. Like, I mean, you've seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right?
I did not. Sorry.
Oh, you did not? Oh, okay. So,
Nope.
alright. So, like in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, there's like this being called Truth, and this being is sort of like the ultimate thing, where it's like, oh, I am God, I am the universe, I am you, I am them. Like, you know, it's practically all the things that you could probably define. And I think like, they call this being truth, but in actuality, it's sort of like knowledge, where it's like, if you have knowledge, but you don't have the human brain to categorize it into things like, oh, this is a male because of these traits, or this is a female because of this trait, or this is a table because it shares these traits. If you just have knowledge and it's basically like everywhere, but you don't have anything to categorize the knowledge, it's just basically just information that doesn't really mean anything. So the thing of it is that, like, I think when people think of consciousness, I usually think of like their amalgamation of knowledge, where it's like it's there and you can probably pull it out, but the thing of it is that will it mean anything? Like, will it actually mean something? And that, I think, is up for debate, you know, because like you can manifest things. The thing of it is that they like, also for manifestation, they also say that you have to have the right frequency. In other words, like, they go into like things like, oh, you have to work in the internal, such as like, how do you think of yourself? How do you behave towards yourself? What is it that you do when you're alone? Can you actually sit with yourself being alone in a room doing nothing, right? And the thing is that, like, how you talk to yourself internally affects how it goes on outwardly. At least that's according to like what people in the spiritual space talk about, which I kind of like agree with, because the thing of it is that, yeah, you have to like do challenges and you have to actually overcome certain things. At the same time, that is not guaranteed a result, because like sometimes if you're just doing it just to get a result in your life, sometimes it doesn't work, and you're just stuck on the, I guess, like the hamster wheel of constantly grinding.
Yeah, when it comes to that, I just think that like inherently life and the world is unfair. You shouldn't expect anything just because you try to manifest it, or you try to will it, or even when you put effort in it, right? Like, there are many times where you put effort that's unrewarded. But that's not to say that you shouldn't put any effort, right? It just basically becomes a statistical game where your effort just increases your chance to get there, but it's not gonna be 100%, right?
And also, that's why, like, I think there's more emphasis on trying to detach yourself from the result that you want. Even though you would like the result to happen, you have to constantly kind of put in the effort as if the result doesn't matter in that regard, which is kind of strange, because when you think about it, I would like to go on a date with like this beautiful woman or this handsome man, right? You have to kind of approach the situation as if like, oh, I'm gonna talk to them, but I'm not gonna make it so that my priority is on the result. Like, I have to actually talk to them as if, like, it's not like you don't care. It's like you're talking to them with the intent that, I know I'm probably not gonna get together with this person, but I'm just gonna talk to them anyway and take the results as they are.
I agree with you a little bit, but except that, like, it's not that you shouldn't expect the negative either. You should just not really think much about it. Like, your focus should be in the journey, right? So like, focus is to perform well. But you think of it as you just try to perform well so you could like maximize your chances. But there's still no guarantee. Even if you do your best, there's still no guarantee. I don't know about the prescription about like you should shouldn't expect to be with them. But you shouldn't expect, but you should also not expect. So it's just like,
no, it's
you
like
should
you're
just
actually
not-
detaching yourself from the expectation of that.
Right.
That's basically.
Yeah, you detach yourself from even expecting anything.
Yeah.
You do something, and whatever happens, happens. And that's kind of like my philosophy when it comes to exam, test taking. I know
Yeah.
people mention that people get nervous in exam and test
Yeah.
taking, and they sweat. They prepare for some exam
Because they know they're being judged by like an institution that's like way beyond their control.
And plus, a lot of it is like anxiety about like you put so much effort.
Yeah.
And then you're scared about what the result's gonna be because it's gonna say something about your effort, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. To me, anyway, the way I approach it is like, if you had prepared going to the exam, you could just tell yourself, today, I'm taking an exam. Today is the consequences of the past few days whether I studied or not studied, right?
Right.
Whatever happens, happens. Like, I will take the consequence of my own action and or preparation if I don't stress about failing or passing. It's just that, okay, I'm just going to do my best in the moment. I'm taking the exam. I'm just going to go focus on... The only thing stressful would be time limitations if an exam has time limits.
Yeah.
But that's something that I would recommend people to always practice. You always practice under time constraint so that you can get like a sense of the pacing that you gotta, how fast you gotta answer questions. Because definitely we all have had those questions where it's like number 5 and you're just stumped on it. You're like, what the heck? I'm blanking. You know, but you don't want to dwell on that. You want to move on. Maybe your brain sometimes remembers things later on, and you come back to number 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess my point is that when you start stressing about the results, it can have a negative impact on the journey. When you really should focus on the journey, because the journey is what produces the result, right? So it's kind of like an egg. If you let your perceived results influence your journey negatively, that's not gonna it's gonna be like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so
no, I mean that's a good way of putting it. And the thing of it is that like your brain does have a frequency, and I'm not discouraging people that think like, oh, if I make my brain align with a frequency of the future that I kind of envision for myself, or I feel like I deserve, right? It's like it will happen, right? And I kind of do feel like I do lean into that principle a little bit because you have to be like comfortable with yourself in order to get like the results that feel like that makes your life better, because it feels as if like you're ready for that particular event in your life, right? Because I remember the time when I met my ex. Like, I wasn't really looking for a girlfriend at the time, and like, you know, lo and behold, she appeared in my life, right? Because like I felt like I was just trying to actually like, sure, like I had a wishful thought of actually being able to date someone, but at the same time I didn't make it a priority. I kind of detached myself from the result, you know. And then lo and behold, she appeared. So for me, I feel as if like, yeah, there might be some things I have to do based on my own actions, but at the same time, it's like being able to socialize with strangers. That's another thing, because like for me, it's like I feel like I have to manifest within myself to actually have the courage to actually walk up and talk to them.
Yeah. So what's interesting about that is that like going back to the principle of like you're maximizing your chances to get a girlfriend. If you're someone who wants to have a significant other, whether a boyfriend or a girlfriend, right? Like, you really shouldn't think about the results. It's more about you should just keep trying.
Yeah.
If it's something that you really want to have, you try. I know the dating market may suck or whatever, or there's this problem. Yeah. But sometimes it just comes out of nowhere, like what happened to Peter, for example, right? Now, of course, there's going to be stories about people that didn't even try. I don't know if Peter had tried. It sounds like you haven't really been looking for someone. So, in a sense, you did get lucky, I would say.
I think so. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. So the timing was right.
With you, right. Yeah. But, you know, obviously not all of us are going to be lucky. And it's there is still merit into trying.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess the common advice out there would be, I guess you don't try specifically to get a girlfriend or boyfriend. I guess you just socialize in general.
I think
and
like
then you
what you're
upon it.
Yeah, I think what you're trying to say is like you just put in the effort but don't fixate on the result. You basically
Yeah.
you
Don't
basically
expect-
just you make the effort to basically say what's going to happen, but you don't fixate on like, oh, I didn't get the girl or I didn't get the guy or the girl, and then like, you know, this is a waste of time, or like
Yes.
that type of thing.
So a
You
common
basically
mistake-
fixate on like
yeah.
you basically focus on like, oh, I managed to talk to this person, like it didn't work out, but at the same time, like it's a step forward, you know.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
it's
little
kinda
steps.
Don't fixate, say like you're trying to get a girlfriend and you're just like, I'm just trying to talk to girls, man, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, like you're ignoring talking to
Or I'm trying to
guys.
find the right guy in my life, or like, you know,
Right.
it's like
No, I'm saying is you're saying that, oh, I don't want to waste my time talking to guys because obviously
Yeah.
I'm looking for a girlfriend. Why would I talk to a guy? But
Yeah, exactly.
you never know where it's gonna lead, because what if
Yeah.
you talk to a guy, you become good friends with them. I'm not saying they're gonna be your boyfriend or anything.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm saying you're gonna be good friends with them, and then maybe
Yeah.
they know someone,
Yeah.
or like you connect through and say like they had a house event, you got invited and you met someone there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like endless possibilities, right?
Yeah.
But like you always open the doors to anything, so you don't tunnel focus on relationships. You
Right.
guess you open your social door
Yeah.
if you're looking for someone, and then that social door can lead you to places.
Yeah. And also the thing of it is that like when you actually start talking to the person, and let's say that you are interested in them and want to get to know them more, is your conscious state ready for that? You know, because like now that you're actually talking and they seem interested, are you able to be conscious enough to take yourself out of your own doubts, your own like insecurities, like that are flooding your brain right now, that are basically compelling you to basically say, oh, I must be cool, I must not show the weaknesses of my personality, otherwise they will see it, but then they will probably see it based on how nervous you are exposing yourself, you know, like trying to make one sentence, you know, and that's very intimidating to face, you know, because like you're conscious of the situation, but you're not allowing yourself to be present in the situation, which is like two different things, which is usually when people think they're being conscious, they're actually just being stuck in like a rigmarole of their own, like the confines of their own insecurities.
You got
Yeah.
that right.
Yeah.
It's interesting that we got into dating advice for some reason.
No, I mean consciousness can
Not
touch
that I'm
into anything in life, like whether it be
Yeah.
like, you know, how you talk to people, how you interact with your family.
Yeah.
And, like
I do. Yeah. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Good.
no. Like what were you gonna say?
I do think that like a lot of what is meaningful to us humans when it comes to the consciousness side, right? Oftentimes what gives us meaning is other people, in
Right.
my opinion, right?
Right.
It's like, why do you do X, or say like, why do you do research, or why do you want to cure cancer, or why do you want to do X, you know, why do you want to earn money, or this and that. I mean, obviously there's self-hedonistic reasons, right, for
Right.
us, but sometimes it's also for other people, and it's
Yeah.
like we're definitely a social creature, right? I guess it could also be for animals as well, if you're a person that loves animals, or for the environment. But basically, it's always tied to like improving our shared world together, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think like when it comes down to basically just being a, I guess, quote unquote conscious being in your own existence, I think like the question that we also have to ask ourselves is like, why is it that our subconscious kind of works against us in certain aspects of our lives? For instance, like if you were to try to court someone, right? You end up wondering, why is it that my subconscious always brings up the insecurities or my bad experiences with like my exes, or like what like people criticize me of being in high school, and why is that affecting me now that I'm already like past the age of like 20 or 30, right? But yet those things are still in your subconscious. So the question is I think the answer to those questions is probably like we still don't know why is it that those things from the past somehow influence us. But I think like it's bestly phrased is like, even though we never asked to be traumatized, we never asked for people to say these cruel things to us or say things about us that affected us so much, but it's still our responsibility to actually be quote unquote conscious of it and stop ourselves from actually trying to self-sabotage ourselves based on the things that we never asked for. Which is really hard to do. I'm not saying it's easy to do. But
sometimes it's something that is subconscious almost. Like it's almost like you have a certain fear.
Yeah.
For example, you're scared of something. Say like you're scared of approaching
or socializing. Yeah, like approaching someone to talk to someone. Because like I've had that fear. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all based on like your past, right?
Yeah, and your inner dialogue.
Did we get to talk about like when you went to a wedding?
Oh,
and you felt like you didn't really want to socialize with. You couldn't really socialize with like any groups.
Yeah, like probably there was a urge to try, but the inner voice in my head that was more negative kept coming. It basically was like, I don't want to bother these people. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be that awkward person that just approaches and is trying to talk, because like, I know that once I become awkward and knowing, like, I know I will be awkward once I know that I am fearful of appearing awkward. Because once that fear of being awkward is there, it's gonna compel your actions to appear awkward.
I hear you. It's like you will it.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like you're subconsciously like trying not to will it into existence, but it comes into existence anyway. So, but at the same time, you also have to ask yourself, is like if that's gonna happen, then why should I bother trying, right? But a lot of people would say like it's better to try than not do it at all, because you know then you start, like, if you actually are honest with yourself, you actually start to develop the muscles to actually try to resist that better. But at the same time, it's like it always starts with that one first step. And like now when I think back, I'm like thinking like, dang, like have I never actually taken that first step for myself at times? Or maybe do I not feel comfortable at certain situations? That could also play a factor. So it's not like you're just trying to put everything on yourself. It could also be the environment you're in as well, which also your consciousness perceives. But it's also your subconscious that also allows you to feel that. But I feel as if the subconscious and the consciousness kind of work together in some way, because I feel like they will give you a good feeling of when something vibes and when something doesn't.
Yeah, like it's like the gut feeling, right?
Yeah,
it can be. I mean, I kind of almost believe in gut feeling. Well, I think I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Like it's almost like your primary radar, so to speak. It's like if you feel that vibes are off, but you cannot explain it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like you should give that a look, right?
Yeah.
You should kind of trust your gut and like look further. Like, why is it that you're feeling off in this situation? What is about the scene or the interaction that's not sitting well?
There could be like also like subconscious like missed signals that are like communicating to you in your brain that's like you're not sure why you have them, but for some reason they're there, but they could also work against you in your own best interests.
Oh yeah.
So the thing of it is that like whenever I feel like I want to try to talk to someone just to say hello or something, I feel like, why am I being inauthentic right now? Why is it that I'm trying to talk to someone who probably is just random and I will never see them again? But at the same time, it's like, I only want to talk to people that I'm attracted to. So like, that could be the pompous side of my brain. It's like, why am I talking to this person who I'm not attracted to? That like, you know, it's like, it sounds very pompous of me to say, but at the same time, like I'm trying to be perfectly honest with you guys, because the thing of it is that and it's also kind of true, because I know that this is going to backfire on me. It's like, if I don't talk to somebody that I don't find attractive, then how am I going to talk to the person who I find very attractive? You know, it's a bit of the oxymoron where it's like, if you don't do it with someone that you're not fully close with, how are you expected to be talk to someone that you want to be close with,
right?
You know?
Right.
So it's a bit of a, and I think that's the reason why people end up with friends of friends, because like when you actually become friends with like, and it's really hard for guys too actually, because like with guys, right, and if you're into women, right, it's if you just have guy friends, right, and none of them are friends with women, you feel as if like, how am I supposed to meet a person who I can like be romantically involved with, right? It's a big conundrum that guys share, right? And you know, like you start to feel like the world is scarce for women that you're attracted to. And I think for women it's the same thing. It's like, dang, we only hang out with girls or women, right? And it's like, where are the men? You know, like where are the men that I'm attracted
like
to?
You want to be in a social event, whether it's a game or an MMO or something where the gender is more balanced.
Right.
Because if you're playing like, I don't know what is like a stereotypical, like maybe Call of Duty is like a stereotypical heavily male, then you like just get zero chance.
No, it's kind of funny because like a lot of the stories that I hear from my friends, right, and and you're one of them, right, a lot of them have met their like romantic partners through like online gaming, right? And I'm just so surprised that happens, because for me,
there's a statistic on that now where it's now majority online.
Oh, really?
There was a chart that I saw somewhere. I could probably reproduce it if I Google, where if you track the, you know, how did you meet your significant other? You know, like 2 decades ago, it was like overwhelmingly through like bars or you know, through a friend or through a church or something, and now it's like over 50% online now. Yeah, it's shifted so much.
Right. That's like pretty interesting, because like I think like a majority, I think like probably like 3 of my friends, including you, met their romantic partner like literally online, which I find very interesting, because like I'm like, how'd you guys meet? It's like, oh, we happen to play a game at the same time. But also what gives me hope though, right? Like, I know this is probably like, we were talking about consciousness, but now we're talking about our love lives. But like I said, like the podcast is not always going to be structured very well. Like what gave me hope is what you said to me the last podcast, is like, oh, I can see you talking to people at an anime convention or something. And I remember I went to one like last year and I didn't talk to anyone, but because you said that to me, I felt as if I'm kind of encouraged to actually at least try this time. And plus I'm going with a group of my friends, so I won't feel totally by myself.
The only thing nowadays though is that like this is where age kind of plays a role, and how old we are now, is that I feel like anime convention have always trended on the younger side, right? So obviously you're gonna have to kind of, and it's kind of awkward sometimes, even when I think about approaching people, like even to go be like, hi, how are you, and then just start asking like, how old are you? You're just losing the freaking conversation.
Well, that is if you're going with the intention of dating.
That's true.
Because the thing of it is that like there's like panels about dating and stuff, but like, you know, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about just talking in general, you know, like just socializing.
You're right.
Yeah,
and that is the key. You really shouldn't be going there for to date someone.
Yeah, like the thing of it is that knowing me, I probably won't engage with that unless the person is very obvious on the signs, you know, because that's how my ex was, like, and she gave it to me very bluntly, actually, even though I didn't notice at the beginning, like, because like I've had like mistakes where I assumed someone like was interested in me, but they were actually just being nice. So like for me, it's like if they make it kind of like obvious to me that to the people around me that like, oh, I think she's interested, you know, then I will take that as a sign, as like, oh, okay, now that it's not just me, like people are observing it and they know the behavior.
I sent you the picture, by the way, in your GM. It's the chart that I saw that I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
It has spiked, and if you notice in that chart, if you look at that chart, that's already pre-COVID. 2020 is the end point of that graph. So I can just imagine after COVID, it's even more true that people have met online.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably has exploded higher than that. Because it looks like it's pointing around what? That's like 50 or 60% of people have met online. And then through friends used to be the highest at 35%, had plummeted along with work, bar, family. Yeah, in grade school.
If you guys like want to see the chart, like what Rainier's talking about, I'm gonna put it on both short form on the stream, both short and full form. So this is the chart he's talking about. What does the red line signify? Online, right?
Online, yes.
Yeah. Oh, so
the
through
spike.
Wow,
of
through
online,
friends is going down. That's interesting.
Through friends has gone down. Yeah.
Through family, oh, that's even lower.
And what's
grade
interesting,
school...
the way I see this is like, what's interesting to me is that the rise was not due to social media, because social media blew up. Facebook was around 2007, 2008. Although I do think there's already Friendster and MySpace even before that, so I don't know how much influence that is. But I think it's just internet in general. When internet in general happened, you met people online, not even through social media. Because my ex was through a forum. It wasn't social media. It was like, imagine like you like, I don't know, trading card game forum, like a Pokemon card game forum or something like that. That's where I met them. But online it's crazy high now.
No, it's like, it's really crazy, like how people are meeting online now. Of course, like the thing of it is that like how you guys make it work, obviously it comes with communication and all that, but like I haven't had the fortune of actually being in that red category. But like, I don't know, maybe one day it will happen. But at the same time, like, am I spiritually, mentally, and physically prepared for that, right? And I still draw a question mark to it. Like, I'm open to the possibility, but at the same time, it's like I'm also trying not to hold my breath to it. But at the same time, I don't even know if I fully let go of, I guess, like the desire for the result. And I think maybe that's a sign that maybe I'm not ready, but maybe it could be a sign that maybe I'm just being too hard on myself for that.
I guess when you go there, you kind of just want to be open to things, I guess, right? You want to be open to events, you want to be open
I think the thing of it is that here's the thing, like, why is it that there are some people that are single but they're okay with being single, even though they may be older, like they've already gotten old and they have already gotten, like, the gray beard and everything? It's because I think they already became comfortable with themselves, because they've already developed the skills to actually, if they want to get a significant other, they can do that. But they choose not to, because they know that, oh, I'm not in a hurry, because if I want a significant other, by the time my life comes to an end, I can just go and get it, right? And I think that's the natural way of like looking at the world, right? And I think the reason why people are so afraid of being single is because there's a part of them that feels as if like, I don't have the skills to get the love interest that I idealize in my head, right?
It's just a matter of like risk and reward. In their perspective, it could be very much that, oh, the risk is way too much for like emotional hurt or disappointment versus the reward. Sometimes our anxiety, the fear of rejection is real. It's very strong.
Yeah, there's it's like actually a part of me that's like still like kind of like, I think I wouldn't say traumatized, but still has that in my subconscious.
I honestly think that fear of rejection is sometimes stronger than your desire to be with someone.
I think that's the reason why I can't, it's hard for me to socialize much more, because of that fear. But of course, like, like it is an inevitability, but I think it's also the way you're rejected, I think also affects you.
Yes, because whether you get ghosted, or you get told in your face, or whether you get cheated on, I mean, there's so many.
It could also be that you were rejected and they tried to let you off like as nicely as they could, but then you just reacted very badly. That could also be another thing. Like, you're kind of worried about that kind of response happening again sometimes. I'm pretty sure some guys probably have gone through that type of experience. But of course, like, when you're actually like focusing on like, growing yourself and understanding yourself better, I think that comes with the territory that you probably know what you're going to do, because if you're able to catch yourself from that moment of feeling that sense of I guess that sense of dread that you feel like is going to come from the rejection, I think that's when you can actually have the fortitude to basically say, oh, I'm starting to feel this feeling. I'm going to let myself feel it, but I'm not going to act on it, you know? Because it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel frustrated as long as you don't react badly to the feeling of itself, you know? And I think that's a good sign of maturity.
Indeed.
And I think that's where consciousness actually shines, because the emotions are more of a subconscious reaction, right? And when you become conscious of it, it becomes your peripheral vision, and you begin to see that, oh, I'm heading the wrong path, right? But it could be like a sense of stoicism in some way, because some people might think that that's being stoic in that regard, because you're able to step outside of yourself and actually see the emotions that are taking place in your head before you actually say anything out of your mouth, or before you actually start moving your body, you know? Which I think, like... Go on.
Being able to, like, take a step back and look at things more objectively or logically, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's not easy, because like
it's not
like
easy. Yeah.
If you guys like are in chat and you're afraid of rejection, believe me, I'm afraid of rejection too, and I'm already past the age of 35. Yeah, so you know, like every guy, no matter how old you are, you're always gonna, like, if you're like, it's not about getting over the fear of rejection, because that fear of rejection is always gonna be there. Like,
look, like my story here is just a side story. So I play Final Fantasy 14. It's an MMO. And there was a time period where I was lonely. Like, lonely in general, not even from, like, romantic, you know, because I was single. But I was like, okay, what is one thing that I can do to stop being lonely, right? So I'm like, there is no other way for me to... I couldn't think of a way, because I'm already in an established guild. And the guild is small, it's not really active. You know, I literally was cold, you know, the definition of cold email, but in this case it's cold DMs or cold, you know, I would just go around and just whisper people, and I would ask them random question, or maybe if I noticed something, I would comment on it. The ones that I was getting hits with are like shared activities. So I was heavy on PvP in the game, and if I kind of vibe with someone in PvP, or I notice someone was like that stands out, I would like DM them, like, hey, you know, I was in your PvP, this and that. And I would just strike up random conversations. Sometimes it goes somewhere. Sometimes people ignore me, right? Sometimes you don't get a message at all. Some people, you could tell they don't really want to talk to you, like they give you short answers. And then other people are like way too enthusiastic. There are some people that would just like all of a sudden would just talk to you, like, and then tell them their life story. Like it's like, okay. but you know, I have met some really, really cool friends that to this day I still play with them through the years. Just from just cold emailing, cold like that. You know, cold DMs like that, and then it led to a lot of different things, you know. So.
I mean, like, you know, like sometimes you just gotta like shoot an email and just basically like see what happens, you know. Well,
yeah. What's funny was like I met my current my girlfriend in Final Fantasy 14. It's not through cold DM. Well, kind of is. But basically, it wasn't me, because I was like, "Oh, I'm not in the mood to do it." But I had encouraged one of my friends that I knew from cold DMing to be like, "Hey, you message this person to see if they want to join us and play with us," and then you know, it just went from there.
I mean, like, it still took like effort to actually like make the
exactly.
attempt to do that.
If you do not, if I felt like if I didn't put any effort, you're literally invisible. Literally invisible. Like, you can play all the PvP, all the different things that are happening. If you do not talk, you don't do any DMs, you don't whisper, you will be invisible, even in an MMORPG. I mean, unless you get lucky and you're the one getting approached, but like, I mean, for me as a guy, my experience is that you're the one. You're the one that's sending the emails. You're the one that's
As the
applying
guy,
the
yeah,
jobs.
yeah, usually
Yeah.
that's extreme. But at the same time, like, of course, like, um, it's not gonna always be that way. Like, it's just not as likely based on like statistics, and I think like social norms. But at the same time, like, the guys that just want to be approached, like me, don't give up hope. Like, and like like while like you're not being approached by the women that are interested in you, or like, they want to play games, they want to play games. Like, don't let them play games with your heart. Just just be patient, and if the right woman doesn't come and they don't approach you and show that they're interested in you, like, just keep working on what
But
makes you feel fulfilled
but yeah,
alone.
but see what I meant. Like even
Mhm.
for my example, the way I met my girlfriend was
Yeah,
I just wanted to play PvP. I just want to have fun playing PvP,
yeah,
and I like playing with people. I mean,
yeah,
in general, people that I
right,
vibe with.
right.
Um, out of like the 20 something DMs that I've sent, maybe I would get like 4 or 5 replies, right?
Uh-huh.
Majority of the time there's no response, or they just shut you down essentially.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, but the cool thing about it, like I said, I have made life almost long-term friends through it, and that was
Mhm.
almost worth it. It was worth the attempts, the numerous attempts that I did just
Yeah.
randomly doing like that, because I have met kind of like a small group of people that I vibed with,
Right, yeah.
Um, and obviously I met my girlfriend in there too. But with
Yeah.
the first goal was to just have fun, and then you have
Yeah.
fun with that person,
Yeah.
and then stuff happens, and then you get into like more personal
Yeah.
like events where you're privately messaging.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be super aggressive at it from the get-go, but it's almost
Yeah.
like you think of opportunities, and then
Yeah.
when you feel that it's right, then you go.
Yeah, I think like it's also like an anxiety of dating culture. For instance, like the guy, right? The guy has to make the first move. The guy has to basically
Yeah.
show that he's attractive, and if the woman basically says this or says that, that means she's friend zoning him and all that stuff, and it leads to this whole anxiety type of issue where it's like, oh, if you don't do the right move this way or that way, it leads into this type of result. But at the same time, if it leads to that type of result based on a word you said or the way you presented yourself, that person was not meant to be with you to begin with, I think.
I feel like you shouldn't be anxious in a sense that, like, at least for me so far,
Yeah.
from my limited experience,
Yeah.
you will know.
Yeah.
You will just know when you vibe
Yeah.
with someone. I feel like
Yeah.
it's almost like this chemistry that's
Yeah.
like everything is natural. Like you will know when the other person wants to spend time with you,
Yeah.
and it's like you can tell by just like how fast do they reply to your text,
Yeah.
how much how detailed are their replies to your conversation, do they
Right.
keep the conversation going,
Yeah.
or are they just saying one-liners,
Right.
like
Yeah.
you could all of this, it's like there's a lot of data points that you can collect that will tell
Yeah.
you whether you have a good chance.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do have a good chance or not, I do think there is some benefit to kind of like just like determining early on whether you're
Yeah.
gonna pretty much like express interest in that person, whether
Yeah.
you're gonna straight up outright confess, or you're gonna kind of always like one up your interaction, like level one, the next level, the next level, the next level, you get more
Yeah.
personal.
I believe what Rainier says is like, it takes time. It takes time to actually know a person and know if they're right for you. Like, if you want to go to the next step with this person and you feel that might be a possibility, like it's just talking and communicating with that person,
Yep, and it will be natural if it vibes. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's pretty easy to tell.
Yeah.
Like I now know, and maybe that's because I've had my multiple different experiences. Because I've had an instance where I was talking to my crush, right? I
Yeah.
used to have a crush a long time ago,
Mhm.
and I would talk to them,
Mhm.
and then I confessed, and I got rejected. But
Right.
looking back, it made everything make sense why I got rejected, right?
Mhm.
Like when I look back to my DMs and I would kind of reassess,
Yeah.
she would say one-liners that is not continuing the conversation, and the
Right.
conversation becomes like an interview. Like I'm always asking, like,
Mhm.
"How are you?" Then
Mhm.
like follow-up questions is always coming from me. It's
Yeah.
like one-sided,
Yeah.
and I kind of just already have a feeling. I had at least two instances like that where
Mhm.
the girls are just almost there's like a wall. It's
Right.
so hard to get personal because
Yeah.
you have to ask it. You have to fish it from them. If you have to fish it from them, I feel
Yeah.
like it's not working
It's
out.
not. Yeah. It's not worth it at your time
It's
because
not. Yeah.
I've been in the receiving end of those, and at the same time, it's like, yeah. And like, and there might be some times when you meet someone that has the possibility, but they get your hopes up, and then suddenly you either said something or you did something that kind of put them off the wrong way. That can also happen, but don't feel bad that the result happened that way because you just happened to be honest about something or just say something, or maybe you just said too much and you kind of you thought about it and you realized that that was not the right thing to do. Everyone's gonna make mistakes, and whenever it comes to relationships or when it comes to people that kind of feel like, oh, I have a possibility with this person, but I don't know if I should move forward with that. If you feel that pressure that you feel like you have to constantly do a big gesture or something for this person to get to notice you, they probably are not right for you. That's my personal opinion
Yeah.
on that.
and
Because
and you
yeah,
yeah, and you what you want to do then, if you ever get into a crossroads, you kind of want to know the answer early.
yeah,
So either whatever it takes for you to kind of get it,
yeah,
like either you test more,
hmm,
and then like you have to decide, either you confess and get rejected, or you
yeah,
go ahead and just completely pull out. You're like, okay, now
yeah,
like we are just friends.
yeah,
Obviously there are gonna be tricky situations out there where it's gonna be a mix sometimes, right?
yeah,
Sometimes you can't tell if
yeah,
the girl's giving you signals, but for my experience anyway,
yeah,
it's obvious to me. Like even I'm dense, but it's obvious. I can just feel it. Like I said, it's because I know
hmm,
how it is to be stonewalled, but I also
yeah.
know how it is to have an interested
I
person
mean, at least
interested
your
in you.
intuition's better than mine, because usually, because of my experiences, I've psyched
Mhm.
myself out, because if I get the feeling that I think someone likes me, I would literally have to talk to someone to actually observe this person for
Yeah,
me, because
that's crazy.
yeah,
Because
because I've
for
been
me,
hurt.
I
I've been
feel
hurt
like
so
it's
many times because I thought someone was actually has a crush on
yeah.
me, but they were actually being nice. So I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah, I feel like it's night and day for me.
yeah.
But that may be just my intuition. So I'm not gonna say that
No, I get that.
it might be
Everyone
easy
has
for
different
me. Like,
experiences,
yeah.
and it
But
carries
I mean,
over.
in that case, it's good to know early on whether like they're just being nice to you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Because then you could move on because you don't want to
yeah,
be stuck,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you could move on from something and then do other attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I do feel like I'm the type of person that if I'm pursuing someone,
Yeah.
all the other doors pretty much almost close, right?
Right.
Like, like if there were girl number 2, number 3 around,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I don't even see them. Like I
Right.
almost tunnel focus on a television on like one person.
Yeah.
I go for them, I do that, and then when I get rejected, then everything else opens. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I go
Yeah.
back to the drawing
No, I'm the
board and
same way. If I that's why there are times when I just hate having crushes, because it's like, dang, they've taken over my whole world at that point.
yes,
And then you feel like you can't focus on the things that you actually do with your day, and then it's like, dang, why is this fixation so bad? But it's just
mm-hmm.
you. It's just in your
Yeah,
head, and you have to
sure.
control that. But you feel like you don't know what the tools are you need to control that.
I had
And it does
a
get cumbersome a bit.
I had a short story in high school where I had a crush on someone
Yeah.
and I was tunnel visioned on them,
Mm-hmm.
and I was already friends with her friend, and
Yeah.
we eat lunch together, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I confessed. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna confess. I confessed and I got rejected, right? So I got rejected by my first crush,
Right.
and then after that, I slowly noticed her friend that was like, oh, she's actually kind of giving me signals. I didn't notice it before. Like for example, she would like willingly drink from my soda can, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but she wouldn't do it with anyone else, and
Right.
like she would be the only person that would share my soda can, my soda drink. with me,
Mhm.
and it's like I've never noticed that before. It's because I was tunnel focused, but now that
Yeah.
I have been rejected, it's almost like now I had a renewed perspective on things.
Right.
So like that person now became my new crush essentially. But
Mhm.
yeah, didn't really go much anywhere. But that's a long story.
No, I get that, and I get that, and thank you for sharing that with us.
But yeah, that was more me than
Yeah.
like if I capitalized on it, like if I was in the same like I could detect like signals better, and I'm a lot more courageous now
Mhm.
than I used to be. If I was that courageous, I feel like we would easily, I would have confessed to her and
Yeah.
may have gone somewhere.
Yeah. All right. So it's almost like 10 p.m. So we're gonna take another break. So if you guys need to use the restroom or get a drink, you're more than happy to do so. We will be right back.
Give me 5 minutes.
Okay, guys. I'm just gonna basically put the screen back up.
I'm back as well.
Welcome back. Okay, because you said 5 minutes, so
Yeah,
I think we
I
wait
was
for
back early.
5 minutes. Yeah. But yeah, so we're back. So I think like we did talk about consciousness. We did talk about a little bit of, I guess, the subconscious and the consciousness role and what it means to interact with people, mainly in searching for romantic relationships or just relationships in general. Hopefully you guys took it that way. It could have been just us just talking about relationships, but I feel like we kind of like fit a little bit of the main topic into that conversation a little bit. But I think now, since we are still on consciousness, if we were to think about consciousness, do you think it's deterministic or do you think it's undeterministic?
Deterministic, like destiny, fate kind of deterministic?
Or like it's supposed to follow a certain path if you follow a certain amount of patterns along with it, and it's not really in your control, it's just based on the laws of nature. Like, in other words, you're not in control of it.
I mean, I've flip-flopped a little bit because it kind of related to free will a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now of the idea that like that free will exists but doesn't exist at the same time. Like there's free will, but there's also not free will. There's only free will in your confined probabilities, I would say.
Yeah.
Like your circumstances or your destiny or your fate or whatever kind of led you to have this like small box of possible decisions and possible free will, so you could exercise your free will but only in this little box. So in a way you don't, in a sense that you then don't truly have free will, because like the circumstances of your birth, who you were born to, how were your parents, what country, what class, what economic scale, all of this kind of dictates the box that you get to play with, the sandbox that you get to play with, and then execute your free will under. So in that sense, consciousness is deterministic.
So would you say it's sort of like similar to like I guess like when you look at things like, if we were to think about physics, for example, right? When you look at quantum mechanics, like particles in general, they're just like, they're probabilistic. They're not, they really don't have like a sense of, you won't have certainty of where they're going to end up. But when you expand further into cosmic scales, right? That's when you actually can become deterministic, where it's like you can predict the orbits of planets. You can actually predict like when a star is going to explode, how long it will take it to form a black hole, and all that stuff. So would you say that it's only, it has a like free will is there, but it's just limited to a certain domain?
Yeah. That I think that's my point. I guess the analogy I have with my head would be like, free will can be an electron, and electrons can have possibility depending on position and spin on a given molecule. So say like you're attached to a, I don't know, sodium fluoride or something, right? You're an electron there. Your probability around sodium and around fluoride or whatever, your spin, that is almost limited by the fact that you are in a sodium fluoride.
Right.
Like your positions can be, you have different like possibilities, but it's gonna be a different sandbox if you were in like a carbon dioxide. You're like an electron in carbon dioxide. You know
and as far as we can tell, we know that particles are not conscious. So the thing of it is that when you actually get to the quantum level, it's like you don't even know if you can consider that free will, because they don't make choices. They literally are just like, they're either at one energy level or they're not at, or they make a quantum leap and they go into a lower energy level, or they go into a higher energy level.
So I have free will as someone who lives in America, pretty much.
Right? Pretty much. It's I think the reason why I raised that question is because like like I said, guys, we don't have all the answers. So honestly, like deep inside myself, I do believe we have like the capacity to have a sense of free will, but it's not as all encompassing as most people think it is, because like we have choices, and in our brains we think we have choices, but at the same time it's like the choices that we have are very limited, and not only that, they have been created by a construction of past experiences that we have chosen to react to based on our own emotional state given the time. You may be more mature now, and you probably are like, oh, I'm better at reacting now. But that's had to be through those experiences of you acting emotionally badly. Or maybe
Yes,
it's
exactly.
or just basically being emotional in general, which is not a bad thing. But at the same time, it's like you've learned to like kind of allow yourself to feel those emotions so that you wouldn't express them badly later in life, you know. So I think that's basically how it is, like basically being a conscious being in existence. It's like you kind of had to acknowledge the fact that I've been through these experiences and I'm making better choices based on the experiences that I've had in the past.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the best thing you can say that is free will.
And that's an advantage of someone who's older.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Someone who's experiencing something for the first time when they were a teenager is a totally different ballpark.
Yeah.
But you know, we find out that like there's nothing really is like permanent.
Yeah.
We always change. Our consciousness is almost molds and adapts to our environment and the way we.
Because like while we were doing the podcast, right, like sometimes I have this habit where it's like when I talk to Rainier, I feel like I get some clarity where it's like sometimes like when we were talking about relationships, for example, right, we humans do this like a lot with conversations that we have with our friends. Sometimes you know a friend knows more than you, and I know Rainier knows more than me a lot of the time. So sometimes I kind of socially fish to see like what kind of inspiration can I get from what he's saying, right? Because like obviously he's in a relationship and I'm not, but at the same time, like how can I let myself go to not think of the result of wanting a relationship? Like, because for me it's like it feels like it's a desire I have, and I do acknowledge the fact that there is some sort of negative space because there's an absence of it in my head. But at the same time, now that I know that I'm conscious of it. So if I'm conscious of it, then I can actually make a decision based like, oh, maybe I'm not ready for a relationship right now because I'm being conscious of the fact that I do feel the sense of missing out, loneliness, because I have the absence of that thing. And I'm idealizing the thing that I think is going to make me happy with, aka like maybe a girlfriend.
Well, for me, I kind of knew that was gonna be. Well, it's not like first of all, thank you for your kind words to me, but I don't think I'm that much of an expert. And
no, it's just that I feel like whenever we did these conversations, I feel like I get clarity, or I get a sense of, oh, maybe I will have this thought where I am able to think about how to think of this particular thing in my head in a different way, so it doesn't impact me either negatively or it doesn't give me a sense of being lost.
Well, for me, it's relationship for me is always something that I have desired, and I know that for me the reward is just so much greater than the risk. So it's something, but I've never really had a lot of. I mean, this is just my second relationship, but I mean, my first one was pretty long. But like the idea is, like, I always know that I'm always gonna be trying, right? If I was single now, I'm gonna be trying now. Like, it's just something that I determined that I want to experience the world with someone else. That's pretty much kind of like the short end of stick, like. Like for me, sometimes it gets very lonely. I know how that feels, where it's like you experience something wonderful, but you're experiencing it alone, and you can't even really talk to people about it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you watch some, I don't know, say like you watch some really awesome anime, and you would just want to rant about it, just want to like nerd about it, and like you're just nerding to yourself, and it's just kind of lonely. It's like
pretty much. And I think like for like it's also your intent of why you want to be in a relationship as well, because if you're just getting in a relationship because you feel lonely, that's not really a good enough reason. It's like the same thing as like why do people have children, right? If you're having a child because like you want to extend the family line, but you know it's going to be a totally different person and they're going to have their own opinions and their own way of going about life, and you still want to bring life into that said person, then I think that's a good enough reason. because you acknowledge that person is going to be their own individual. But if you're
Yeah.
doing it to extend, like, oh, I'm going to make a little human being that's going to experience life the way I should have experienced it, then I think you have to rethink about that, because it's like this person is going to be their own person. They're not going to experience
Yeah.
life, and they're not going to live the life that you wanted to live because you missed out on certain opportunities or you decided not to do certain things, because they're not an extension of you. Technically, they're just a genetic version of someone that shares your DNA, but they're not actually you in that sense. But sometimes, like, people try to make it that way. They try to make it that way, like legacy and all that stuff.
No, you're definitely right, and I definitely agree with you that you want to have almost like a bigger purpose other than you don't want to be lonely. Although, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess you could argue that that in and of itself is a big purpose. You know, you don't want to be lonely. It's kind of like for me, it's like the idea that I want to experience growing up together with someone,
Yeah.
or I want to experience the world with someone. Like if I imagine myself going to, I can go to Japan solo and have fun and look
Yeah.
at marvelous like sights. But
Yeah.
I feel like my experience is gonna be 10 times or 20 times more meaningful and more fulfilling for me if I was doing it with a person that I my significant other. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
and
saying?
it could be just as meaningful as if you were to go alone, you know, like, because some people would
Right.
like to do
Like,
that.
there's a hierarchy for sure. Like, there are certain times where it's meaningful if I'm alone. If I'm with my family, my mom or something, or my brother, then maybe it's twice as fun or 5 times as fun or whatever.
Yeah.
And then with my significant other, it's like very high up. Like it's nice to feel like you're because definitely the idea is like it kind of traces back to loneliness, right? You're alone
Right.
in the world. I mean, this is kind of old, but
Yeah.
there's always a reference. I always reference Haruhi Suzumiya, which is it's an anime.
Yeah.
Right? And this was like very impactful for me when I first saw it. There's a
Right.
scene there where she starts going about how many people there are in a stadium. It was like a
Yeah.
baseball stadium or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she recounts like how you're like one person out of like 300,000 people in just that one stadium, and then you extend it throughout the world, and it's like basically what I get from that scene was like this loneliness that happens. Like you're with a sea of people, but you're alone. Like it's a paradox. Like we live with billions of people, but we are lonely. Like it's weird. So it's almost like, and then obviously the whole anime was about like I felt like the purpose was that the main character was there as like a significant other for Haruhi in that sense.
Yeah.
Like you feel alone, but
Mm-hmm.
but what makes you not feel alone is to be with someone.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of instructive for me. So it's like,
Yeah. It's like I think like for me, it's like I don't know if it is loneliness. It could be like subconsciously for me. I think for me, it's like the ability of it's like that itch where it's like I feel like I haven't fully tried. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like not like try to be in a relationship, but actually try to actually like engage with someone on, like, I guess like on a social level, and it can lead to a much better level, like a better way of friendship and all that stuff. Because I think like the friends that I've made, I've been lucky to make because they happen to be friends of other friends.
Sure, but you mean like there's not someone that like you could say is your friend?
I would say like the best friends that I've met in middle school, but of course that was out of like being in the same school.
Right.
Like, like we were just lucky to be at the right place at the right time. But I think like the friends that I've made, like going past like in my adult life, I think I've made because of friends through other friends. Many of my friends that I've met, they've been through my best friends. And, like I've been lucky enough to like connect with like some of them, but I think I've never been in a situation where I've actually met someone I met on my own, and then suddenly like they were just like I guess like they were like just my friend first, and I happened to introduce them like to my friends later. in that regard. I think that there might have been some instances, but it's very rare for me, actually. But I think when it comes to like dating in general, like I guess like it's sort of like what Warren Buffett says about like you don't want to save the S word until your old age. You get what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that. And of course, like when you're young, you feel like you have to actually try to do these experiences now before you get too old and you don't want to do them anymore. So I guess like for me, it's like there's like this itch, and probably it's not supposed to be there, but it's kind of there anyway. Like I feel as if like I have to grow into something, but I'm not sure what it is. You get what I'm saying?
It's like, I don't know. It's for me. I have come with my own ways of trying to connect with people.
Yeah.
I have found that like if I play single player games, nothing will happen. Like I could literally kind of, and I could feel invisible. Literally, like I could work, go to work, go straight back home, and put on like some single player game, right?
Yeah.
On my TV, and then spend the whole night, and no one will know that I even exist.
Right. Yeah.
Point.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like that's probably why I kind of don't do those kind of activities much, and that's probably why I'm like more hooked in like MMORPGs, because there's other people involved.
Right.
And then even on like certain hobbies that I have, like visual novels, for example, where it could be definitely solitary.
Yeah.
I have like, I used to be more active more in like communities surrounding that. Nowadays it's probably gonna be discords around it, or like certain forums, for example. Anime convention is a good way to socialize, but you really have to try, because you could definitely make yourself invisible even in an anime convention, right? Sometimes it's like you really have to kind of be brave in striking random conversations about anything, just as a starter, just to break the ice.
Right.
Like, it's not even about like, like maybe you look at their outfit and you notice something cool. Like I found X and Y cool. And then if you want to further the conversation, maybe you could ask a follow-up question like, oh, where did you get that from? Or did you make it yourself? And then you can gauge how the other person replies to you, whether they want to engage with you or whether they're hurrying up and they want to go somewhere. Like I feel like you can potentially read the conversation in that sense. Yeah. But all of that just to say that you really definitely want to be out there, and it's like you definitely want to be active. You can't just sit passively. And sometimes I had the urge to be approaching people. Even I get very anxious because like, there's some people, back when I was single, I was like, there's this lady that I want to strike a conversation with. Yeah. That's waiting on an Uber with me, but like I chickened out. Like it sucks.
No, I was the same way. Like when I was at Barnes and Noble that one time I described, there was like one woman that was literally like I think like probably like almost like I wouldn't say shoulder to shoulder, but it felt very close. And I was like looking through like one of the books in the business section. I could have struck up a conversation, but I did not. So
yeah, because I think when you start thinking about trying to approach a person, I do think that it can psych you out.
Like even like saying something like basically like, oh, how's your day going, right? Like that is also very intimidating.
Yeah, I think it's because it could psych you out. It's almost like you really need to focus on genuinely wanting to. It's like you genuinely should have curiosity. About something, so that you stop being psyched out. Because if you're just thinking, if your focus is like, I want to talk to this person, you're gonna get anxiety. Yeah. But
I think like for me, it's like I was like getting paralyzed by the fact that, do I genuinely want to talk to this person? Like, is it gonna like I was questioning the genuinity of actually trying to speak up, because am I doing this because I'm interested in the person to like I'm actually interested in their story, or is it am I doing this because of my own selfish need of actually feeling like I'm actually trying to make a milestone of
I
socialization?
mean, so that's interesting, but in a sense that like my answer would be kind of
Hmm.
almost adjacent to that. Like
Yeah,
what that's what I was kind of saying. You kind of want to be focusing on you want to be genuinely curious about someone, and you almost don't want to think about like the desire to speak with someone. It's almost
yeah,
like you have a desire to know about something about some random person because they're
yeah,
going to be random person at that time.
yeah,
Rather, you want to so it's like you focus on the curiosity side, your
yeah,
curiosity, rather
yeah,
than you hitting up with someone or like socializing with someone. Like
yeah,
it's almost like you shouldn't even be thinking that you're trying to socialize with someone. All you're thinking is like like oh I want to compliment them on X, Y, and Z, or I
yeah,
want to ask them where did they get X, Y, and Z,
yeah,
or I want to ask them what do they think of the event or
yeah,
the X, Y, this food or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
Like, because you can find that like say like you walk in an event like an anime convention,
yeah,
you can
yeah,
actually find so many things in common if you just like kind of go around like your brain, you could find common anime between you and
yeah. I
the other
think like
person.
when it comes to an anime convention, it kind of takes my mind off of things more because like
Mhm.
when it's like a regular bookstore or like
Oh
somewhere
yeah,
like a
yeah,
shop,
yeah, yeah. So,
it
I
just
mean,
feels like it's not called for. But at the
yeah.
same time, when it's a convention, it feels like it's more easier to actually like, oh, we're part of this same panel or we're part of this same like part in the dealer's room. It's like, did you find anything good
Mhm.
for yourself? Like, are you planning to buy souvenirs for a friend or something like that? Like, it's just so much easier to kind of slip into kind of like making feel like the conversation is valid, even though you're probably doing it for your own personal growth to actually like say, I'm trying to socialize and I'm trying to improve my social skills by just trying to engage with people. But at the same time, you know
Mhm.
that, oh, because of this event and the aura that it gives, I don't feel like I have to feel like I'm questioning whether I'm being authentic or not. That sort of thing. Because it comes out naturally and I'm not even thinking about that
You're right.
question,
There you
right?
go. Yeah, yeah, you got it. Yep,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Because it becomes a genuine thing. Like you don't care about the socialization. You care more about
I'm not even
well
questioning my own integrity at that point.
intentions.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
intentions of that, and I think that's how it becomes natural. It's like you just do it because you don't feel like there's an intention to actually do something. But when you actually feel that intention creep up in your head, then probably that's not the thing you probably should be doing.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Okay, Rainier, it's like almost 10:30. Should we end it here?
Sure. Yeah, you can go do the outros.
Okay. Do you have anything to say to our global audience before we depart?
All right. Well, hello, global audience. Hopefully, we gave you enough material to ponder about your own consciousness and your own social lives.
And how it mixed
Um,
together with your consciousness and subconscious.
Extract the good things out of what you've learned today and hopefully apply it in your own personal lives. And yes,
Yeah.
stay healthy, stay happy.
Yeah, well said, well said. Wise words, wise words. I totally agree. And also, guys, remember, like consciousness, life is messy. Like, you're gonna make mess of things, and that's okay. I make mess of things, and, sometimes I can repair them, sometimes I can't. But, that's part of growing up. Like, you're gonna make mistakes, and sometimes you're gonna face rejection. Sometimes you're gonna actually be blessed and face the good parts of your efforts. So, just keep trying to do exactly what you feel is right. And like if you feel like you have to question your intentions about something, maybe you have to ask yourself why you have those questions in your head, those doubts and everything like that. And maybe it's just finding the right place, the right time. And sometimes you won't know until it actually happens. So give yourself some credit and let life flow. Let life flow. And I think that will be something genuine to yourself. If you enjoyed the podcast, guys, please leave it in the comments down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a like and hit the sub button. If you're watching this on Kick or Twitch, hit the follow button. It's always much appreciated. So the thing of it is that Rainier, I don't know if we should make this a common thing for at the end of the podcast, but do you have any suggestions of what we can talk about next?
I would love if our audience can give us some ideas.
Okay, if you guys have any ideas, put it in the comments down below. If not, then me and Rainier will probably come back with like either something we've talked about before or probably something new we can talk about like probably
new,
during that time. Yeah, something new for the month.
We try to have new.
Yeah, we try to update ourselves every month to actually talk about things differently, but sometimes we do fall back on the things that we talked about before.
I do think that sometimes I feel like, at least for me, my life is kind of boring, just like day in, day out.
No, I mean, I'm the same way. Like, I practically don't do much at home, but at the same time... So it's like
hard to have something novel, you know?
Yeah, but we try to make it genuine, so like you guys actually have some things. So basically we're deep thinkers, so we will basically have conversations that will go into more deep stuff that probably, hopefully, is relevant for you guys in your lives. But I think that's basically our efforts, like, unveiling. And that's why we have this podcast, and we've been going on for about more than at least a year. So, you know, we're still going strong here. We're still going strong here. And I don't think we're getting tired of every episode. So, at least I don't.
Good.
All right, guys. So we said our pieces. So I'll just say one more thing. Everyone is precious. You guys are just as precious as everyone else. And we will see you guys the next Monday. And also the next stream, I will probably be streaming Genshin. So be sure to catch that if you're into gacha games as well as Genshin. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.